Welcome to The Buzz, where we bring you the leaders in dental education, discussing hot topic courses and industry trends. I'm your host, Vanessa Emerson, founder of Dental Speakers Bureau, and today I'm interviewing Ryan Vett. Now, Ryan is a business consultant in the areas of marketing, service, and practice growth. He has also conducted extensive research on millennials in regard to consumer behaviors and their relationship with brands. We're going to be speaking about his course called Cracking the Millennial Code. So Ryan, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Vanessa.
So let's just dive in with first question being, why would anyone want to care about marketing specifically to millennials? Why is that important for the dental practice?
I think the biggest thing is the millennial generation is the largest cohort that's ever existed in any generation in the United States history. So that's important. The second thing is, as of this year, every single millennial is now a legal adult. So if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. So the reality is there's all these stigmas with millennials. They're lazy, living at home, glued to their devices, only know how to play video games but can't actually work. Whatever it might be, there's these stigmas. And the reality is every generation has always had its stigmas. And so this course isn't just talking about millennials, but how millennials relate with the previous generations and how all of them interact in your practice, both as your patients, but also as your staff and your team. And how can you work together to create patient messaging and just have a practice that caters to everyone well, so that you can provide the best patient care possible, but also you have a stress-free environment and you don't get frustrated racking your brain over how do you deal with these millennials that are just so different than any generation before them.
So to repeat back to you, what I hear you saying is both in working with patients and with working within the practice, understanding each other better and understanding how millennials would better respond to certain ways of being approached or that sort of thing. Or do you talk about other generations as well?
Absolutely. In order to understand the millennial generation, you do have to look at the previous generations, what characterized them, what major historic events, what things happened in their past that made them the way they are, and how do they relate with millennials the way they are, and how do those interact? So you can't understand millennials unless you look at the big picture of all the major generations that are currently flowing through your practice.
Could you give us a little more idea around what will the participant learn and do in this? Is there an interaction or any exercises, and what will they take away?
There's definitely some fun exercises. We take some stereotypes and categorize it by generation. So I'll ask some questions and only a certain subset will raise their hands and everyone looks confused, and because one group gets it and the other doesn't. And so that's how we break down some of the barriers of the generational differences and say, all these things make us who we are, but how can we relate to each other, both as a team and those patients coming in? So it's interactive, it's fun, it's different. It gives you some insights that you'll probably go home and your eyes will be wide open to something you previously thought negatively of a different generation, like laziness of millennials, or maybe it's just the reality that they've always had things at their fingertips via Google, so they don't have to go to the library to pull out an encyclopedia anymore. And so we break down all of those, and it's fun, engaging. Everyone gets to participate, have some good laughs, have some good eye-opening moments to see really what makes them who they are and how they're part of a bigger generation.
I love that, because the reality is there are benefits and challenges within each generation, and that's such a generality, right? Is laziness. It's like my kids are in that group, and I certainly wouldn't classify them as lazy. But thank you for sharing that, Ryan. Would there be anything else that would be important for the millennial, for the meeting planner to know about this course, to help them know where it would fit within, their curriculum, or, just what would be important for them to know that we haven't already said?
Absolutely. I think this is one of those courses it's not something you're hearing or seeing a lot of, but it's extremely important because it impacts your team and it impacts your practice growth and your patient experience. And so we bundle all of that together. You hit all of those big items through a different lens. And so it's a fresh perspective on something that's critical to your practice's overall success and your team members' happiness and your patient's experience. So it's just a very engaging and exciting presentation that gives you a fresh perspective.
Well, there you have it. So thank you for sharing that, Ryan. And for information on bringing Ryan Bett to speak for your next meeting, please visit dentalspeakersbureau.com. And thanks again for tuning in.